परिषद श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शीला प्रभुपाद की, इसका फाउंडर आचार्य शीला प्रभुपाद की, नम आचार्य शीला प्रभु हरिदास ठाकुर की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. So welcome to today's morning Bhagavatam class, and today we are reciting from the Canto 3, the chapter 25, the glories of devotional service, and the text is number 8. So please repeat with me. Tasya tvam tamasondasya dushprasyadya paragam dushparasyadya paragam satchakshur janma namante labdam me tvad anugrahat tasya tvam tamasondasya dushparasyadya paragam satchakshur janma namante labdam me tvad anugrahat tasya tvam tamasondasya dushparasyadya paragam satchakshur janma namante labdam me tvad anugrahat. Prabhuji. Tasyatvam tamaso andasya dushparasyadya paragam labdam me tvad anugrahat. Tasya tvam tamasondasya dushparasyadya paragam satchakshur janma namante labdam me tvad anugrahat. Tasya tvam tamasondasya dushparasyadya paragam satchakshur janma namante labdam me tvad anugraha. Mataji, anybody? Tasya tvam tamasondasya dushparasyadya paragam satchakshur janma namante labdam me tvad anugrahat. So word to word meaning. Tasya, that, tvam, you, tamasa, ignorance, andasya, darkness, dushparasya, difficult to cross, adya, now, paragam, crossing over, sat, transcendental, chakshusha, eye, janmanam, of birth, ante, at the end, labdam, attained, me, my, tvat anugrahat, by your mercy. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Please repeat with me. Your Lordship is my only means of getting out of this darkest region of ignorance, because You are my transcendental I, which by your mercy only I have attained after many, many births. Purport, please listen. This is very instructive since it is indicates the relationship between the spiritual master and disciple. The disciple or conditioned soul is put into this darkest region of ignorance and therefore is entangled in the material existence of sense gratification. It is very difficult to get out of this entanglement and attain freedom. But if one is fortunate enough to get the association of spiritual master like Kapila Muni or his representative, then by his grace one can be delivered from the mire of ignorance. The spiritual master is therefore worshipped as one who delivers the disciple from the mire of ignorance with the light of the torch of knowledge. The word paragam is very significant. Paragam refers to one who can take the disciple to other side. The side is this side is conditioned life. The other side is life of freedom. The spiritual master takes the disciple to the other side by opening his eyes with knowledge. We are suffering simply because of ignorance. By the instructions of the spiritual master, the darkness of ignorance is removed, and thus the disciple is enabled to go to the side of freedom. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that after many, many births, one surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, if after many, many births, one is able to find a bona fide spiritual master and surrender to such bona fide representative of Krishna, one can be taken to the side of light. So let's do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Sya Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna. Welcome once again. So, the chapter 25, the glories of devotional service, and text 8, today we are reciting. So far we discussed about the Kardama Muni left for the forest after taking the permission from Kapila Muni, and then he started his renounced order of life. And other side, Mother Devahuti started taking the shelter of his son Kapila. So as per our Vedic scriptures, the woman is always should be under the protection of men. When she is a child, in the childhood, she will be under the protection of her father. After marriage, under the protection of her husband. Suppose after her husband is like this, renounced or due to some other reason, then the woman should be under the protection of the son. So in accordance to the spiritual injunctions, here Mother Devahuti is taking the shelter of Kapila Muni and getting the instruction. And yesterday Mataji was covering the chapter from the 6th verse 6 and 7. So where she was mentioning that what the ultimate aim of our life is to follow the path of absolute truth. Absolute truth can be realized in three different levels, like Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan, iti Shabjati. So the realization can be absolute, it can happen in Brahman level, Paramatma level and Bhagavan level. So ultimate aim of our aim is to reach the Bhagavan level where we perform devotional service. We engage devotional service with Krishna. So that is our ultimate aim. But how we perform devotional service? Like if you see the Bhagavatam first canto, second chapter, there is a verse. Savai pumsa paro dharma yato bhakti atogjaja ahetuki apratiyata yayatma suprasidati. So the person who realized in the Bhagavan state, he will be doing the service ahetuki apratihata, without any motive and uninterrupted. This is the stage we have to reach, to uninterrupted service, without any motivation. You should not look for any benefit when you are doing the service, and we should be uninterrupted, without any break. We should be doing the service. So this is the required stage. So, but what is our current position? So we are in the material world. It is conditioned. We are in the darkest region of ignorance. Means we are not having the right knowledge. We don't have the proper knowledge. The reason is we are identifying ourselves as a body. Like in our day-to-day conversation, we see he's a male, he's a female, he's an Australian, he's an American. So many bodily features we are using to identify. This is our ignorance. Actually, the Bhagavad Gita, all the transcendental scriptures says, we are not the body, we are the soul. But we haven't got, because of conditioned nature, we are continuously engaged in identifying ourselves in the body, and we are not having the right knowledge. Now see, our position is conditioned, and we have to reach the state of ahetuki apratiyata. So if you see that we are at the bottom, and we have to go on the ladder up. How this can happen? Who can does the magic? This is where Prabhupada explaining in the purport, we should take the shelter of Guru. Guru is the one who will bring us from this darkest region of ignorance to the knowledge. He will shower the light, which is in the form of knowledge, using which we will be reaching the highest stage. We will realize the Bhagavan. We will constantly engage in devotional service with Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. That is where Prabhupada is explaining the Guru. We have to take the shelter of Guru. And we see like in the Mangalacharya, we say, Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we are always praying the spiritual master to remove our ignorance and give the knowledge, so that we will be progressing into the path of devotion. So this is how the importance of Guru. This is how we need to take the shelter of Guru. And another reason we can understand why we need Guru. See, we are in this material world condition, right? So when we take birth, it is painful. When we have a death, it is painful. Between the life and death, birth and death, we live. And we get so many, we encounter so many problems, so many difficulties. And we get momentarily happiness something, and we think that, oh, that is the real happiness. And we try to acquire that kind of, and we work hard. We'll put so much effort to get that momentarily happiness. But this is dukkhalayam ashashvatam, right? This is a misery. This place is full of miseries. See, when we take birth also, we get pain. If you see in the Bhagavatam, prayers of unborn child, what he was saying in the womb of mother, okay, next time when I take birth, after taking the birth, I will spend my life in a devotional service so that I will not take birth again. I will not come into the womb of a mother. That was his prayer. But after taking the birth again, we forget, we will be entangled. Same way, when we leave body, both physically and emotionally, we will have the problem, pain. Emotionally means we will be leaving all our family members. Physically also, there will be pain. So, it's a birth is a pain, death is a pain, in between, momentarily happiness is there, that is also pain. So, now, when we leave the body, so we will based on our karma, whatever karma and vikarma we perform, all our reactions will be accumulated. When we go to the next body, those things will be decided where we are going to take the birth. So we will be having a huge baggage. When we migrate from one body to other body after death, we will carrying a huge baggage. Our subtle body, the mind, intelligence and false ego that carries this karma, all the karma and vikarma reactions, and it takes them out to the next birth. Now, the spiritual master, what he does, he tries to remove this baggage. He will help us to get rid of this baggage, and he will give us will make us free from this repeated birth and death. Actually, that is his compassionate nature. He doesn't need to take birth. Like if you see the great Acharyas and Srila Prabhupada, they don't need to take birth. But why they are coming? Just to remove our baggage, so that we don't take birth again and again. That is the reason the spiritual master is taking birth. All the Acharyas and Prabhupada, so they are Nitya Siddhas, but still they take birth only to clear our baggage, and they will give right knowledge, so that instead of doing karma and vikarma, we to follow the akarma, where we will not get any sinful reactions, so that we will not be taking the repeated birth and death. So these are the various reasons, multiple reasons we can understand why we need a spiritual master in our life. The next thing is how the spiritual master is identified. So we can see that in our case, we regularly hear many Maharajas, many sannyasis, many senior devotees, but so based on our nature, we connected to one Maharaj, it happens, and then we'll take the shelter, we take the Diksha, and like. So we take an example of Dhruv Maharaj. What happened? Dhruv Maharaj, he was humiliated by his stepmother when he was sitting on the throne of his father, right? And then he came back to his mother, and he was very determined to get a kingdom bigger than his great-grandfather, Brahma. And his mother told, I can't help you, you go and ask God. Simply because she clearly told that I can't help you in fulfilling this desire, you have to go and ask God. Then he doesn't know how to approach God. Then what happens? Because the boy was 5 years old, 5 years boy, doesn't know anything. If you see the normal in our temple where small kids are playing, the 5 years old, they don't have much knowledge. But see Dhruv Maharaj, he was a 5 years old and he was very determined to see God and ask the kingdom which is bigger than his father and great-grandfather. So that was his determination. So by seeing his determination, what Vishnu did, Krishna, he sent Narada Muni. He inspired Narada Muni to meet Dhruv Maharaj. And Narada Muni guided him how to, and he initially told that, you are a very small boy, why you are coming into the forest, why you have to take all such tapasya and austerities, go back. Then, but he was very determined that he wanted to see God. Then finally, Narada Muni gave the knowledge using which he performed tapasya and he was able to see the God. So here also we can see how the Krishna, the Vishnu helps us to identify the spiritual master. And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also there was a Madhya Lila, we have a verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was mentioning the verse, Brahmande Brahmite Kone Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. So in the Brahmanda, the universe, we have so many planetaries, 14 planetaries there. Hellish planet, heavenly planets upper, hellish planets in the lower side, in the middle, earth. So what will happen based on our karma? We will be wandering from upper to lower, lower to upper based on various. But what will happen? Those who are fortunate, they will get the association of Guru by Krishna's mercy. And then when we get the Guru by Krishna's mercy, what Guru does? First we'll get by Krishna's mercy, we will get a Guru, spiritual master. And the spiritual master, what he does? He will take you close to the Krishna. So this is like Krishna brings Guru and Guru takes you back to the Krishna. So this is how the Guru, the Krishna, Guru and coming into the picture. So we get double mercy. One mercy from Guru and one mercy from Krishna. That is how we will get the knowledge when we surrender to Guru, and we will be able to cross over this material ocean which is of darkest region of the planet, universe. Now, the next thing, Guru. Okay, now we understand the importance of Guru. Now we know how to identify the Guru. Now the next thing is following the instructions of Guru. The next one. See, I was listening to Prabhupada lectures, and he was mentioning that. See, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati mentioned instructed Prabhupada to preach this message, Krishna conscious message in Western world. He was taking that very seriously, but he doesn't know how to fulfill this desire. He doesn't have proper ways. He tried many different ways. It was not moving forward. But once he listened to a Bhagavad Gita commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And in that there is a verse, in second chapter 41, the Vyavasayatmika Buddhir Eke He Kurunandana. That verse commentary he was listening. He was listening complete Bhagavad Gita commentary, but this verse commentary, Prabhupada got very much attracted. What the commentary Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentioning that, so we should take the instructions of spiritual master, life and soul. We should rigidly follow the instructions without expecting any benefit or loss. So when you seriously execute these instructions, Krishna will provide all the required facilities. This we can see in Prabhupada's life very clearly. So when Srila Prabhupada having the determination to execute his instructions of his spiritual master Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati to spread this message, he was finding initially he wanted to start a business. So he'll get some money, with that he will publish Bhagavatam books in English, and then he will take those books to overseas, America, and preach. That was, but the plans didn't work. So after that he left family, he took the sannyasa, he was distributing back to Godhead magazines, and still he was working hard to find a sponsor to send him to America. So many things are happening parallelly, but he was very clear. He took that instruction as life and soul. Nothing is important in the life other than executing spiritual master instruction, spreading this Bhagavad Krishna conscious message in the Western world. That was his only important thing in his life, and he was working on that. And we would see like finally what happened. He was able to go to US, and after so many struggles, America, and he preached Krishna conscious message in Western world. He made so many hippies, drug addicts, everyone, they converted into the nice devotees. And there was when Prabhupada was living in Vrindavan before going to US, he was in Radha Damodar temple he was living, and there was a Babaji, Hridayananda Das Babaji Maharaj. He was living in the same temple next to Prabhupada. And the Hridayananda Baba Maharaj is very elevated soul. He was a priest in temple, and he was in that Krishna conscious journey for a long time. He's very elevated, sincere soul. And he was speaking about Srila Prabhupada before going to the Western US, how his mood was. He was constantly meditating on how to fulfill his spiritual master desire. Like he was explaining, his schedule was very fixed. He gets up in the morning, Srila Prabhupada, and he goes to all the temples, like the seven temples in the Vrindavan. He takes darshan. While coming back, he purchases all the groceries. At 11 o'clock, he reaches home. He cooks his boga, and he offers that boga to Krishna, and then he will have. In between, when he was doing all these things, he will be watching through window the samadhi of Rupa Goswami and all. He was constantly meditating, how can I fulfill my spiritual master desire? I don't have any thing in my hand to fulfill. How it is going to happen? He was constantly, and he was praying, oh Rupa Goswami, oh Sanatan, please help me in fulfilling my spiritual master desire. That was his mood, that was his prayer. Not only that Hridayananda Das Babaji Maharaj was explaining, in the night time, suddenly he will listen very nice, loud crying. Someone was crying very loudly in the night. And constantly it was happening. And the Hridayananda Baba Maharaj, he climbed his wall and he trying to see what is happening there. Then Prabhupada in the courtyard of Rupa Goswami Samadhi, he was cleaning the courtyard and he's crying and praying, oh Rupa Goswami, oh Sanatan Goswami, please help me to fulfill my spiritual master instructions. That is how we can see. So Prabhupada took the instructions of spiritual master like a life and soul. That is how he is trying to implement. With that, we could see Krishna arranged everything. Though Prabhupada struggled initially, but later he established, he traveled all around the world multiple times. All over the world he established Krishna conscious temples, and he made so many people devotees. Right? That is how we can say. And Prabhupada was mentioning in the lecture that, so he was after starting the ISKCON, he was speaking to all the devout disciples. He was saying that because of you, I'm able to, he's addressing the disciples, because of you, I'm able to fulfill my Guru Maharaj instructions. And you are representative of my Guru Maharaj. That is how the gratitude is expressing. So when we see Prabhupada life, we can learn two aspects. One, as a disciple, how we need to serve our spiritual master. And other thing is, as a spiritual master, how you have to be there. How do you have to be execute your services, right? So he established all over the traveled everywhere, all over the world, and established many centers, right? So we can learn both aspects. We can see how we can become a disciple, how we should behave as a disciple by seeing Srila Prabhupada. And also we can see how we can, what is the mood of a guru, we can learn. So what will happen? So when you do when you take this instruction seriously with the life and soul, when you when you do service, what will happen? Your spiritual master is pleased. When your spiritual master is pleased, Krishna is pleased. Again, we have Guru Ashtakam every day morning we read, Yasya prasada bhagavat prasado, Yasya prasado nagati kutopi, Jayam stu vamstasya yasya trisandhya, Vande Gurum Sri Charanara Vindam. It means, Yasya prasada, if the Guru is satisfied, Krishna is satisfied. If you are not able to please Guru, you will not be able to enter into the Krishna conscious platform. So this is very clear. So importance of Guru we need to understand. If we try to satisfy Guru, like how the Srila Prabhupada did, take the instructions as life and soul and execute it. And that is the reason why you have to always, in the verse it is mentioned, Jayam stu vamstasya yasya tri sandhya. So every day 3 times I pray Guru, spiritual master, to shower his mercy and paying obeisances to spiritual master. So this is how, when you render the instructions sincerely, your spiritual master is satisfied, and when spiritual master is satisfied, Krishna is satisfied. And when Krishna is satisfied, like all the hardships in your service will be removed. That we can see in the Prabhupada example. And in the purport, Prabhupada mentioned paragam, a word. It is mentioned, the paragam is very significant in this, one of the important word he mentioned. So what is that means is, the paragam refers to one who can take the disciple to other side. But what is that other side? We are in the material world, and other side is spiritual world. So we can take what is the other world, what are the qualities of the other world. From the Bhagavad Gita, we can few references. So we have the verse 15, chapter 15, that text 6. Na tad bhashete suryo, na shashanko pavaka, yadgatwana nivartante, taddama paramam mama. Right? The other side world is, it doesn't require it's a self-illuminated, no electricity, no power required, and whoever reaches that side, they will not come back to material world. That is the quality of the world, which here we are, Prabhupada referring to. Other side of the material world is spiritual world, where it is self-illuminated, and whoever enters into this world, they will not return back to this material world. And other references, Abrahma Bhuvanat Loka, this chapter 8, 16. Abrahma Bhuvanat Loka, Punar Avrutino Arjuna, Mame Pechitu Kauntaya, Punar Janma Na Vidyate. So the other thing is, in this material universe, from the bottom, the hellish planets to upper planets, wherever you go, you will take repeated birth and death. But once you perform Krishna with the help of spiritual master, and when you do this devotional service, you will go back to the Krishna's abode. That is when we go there, we will punarjanma na vidyate. You will not get any repeated birth and death. This is the paragam word referring to the spiritual world. When you go there, you will not come back to the material conditioned world. And there is a conversation between the Tamal Krishna, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. And the question was asked by Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, spiritual master has to come back. If the disciple is not gone back to Godhead, then the spiritual master has to come back to get this disciple back to Godhead. Is that true? Then Srila Prabhupada was mentioning, yes, but don't try to take the adventure of it. So finish your business in this lifetime and go back to Godhead. And he was also mentioning that what spiritual master is giving, you need to understand the value of the message, the knowledge the spiritual master is giving. Suppose if you accumulate all wealth in this material world at one side, and if you try to compare with the message which you are receiving from spiritual master, you cannot equal. So the message, the Krishna conscious transcendental knowledge which you are receiving from the spiritual master is much, much greater than the value of the wealth you accumulate in this material world. So when you understand this message, when you know that the value, the message, the knowledge coming from spiritual master is much, much valuable than this material, and the spiritual master doesn't need to take birth again and again, but just simply to take you back to the Godhead, he needs to come. So when you understand this message, when you get this knowledge, you will go back to, then you perform the duties sincerely in this world, in this lifetime, and you will finish your business in this lifetime, and you will not create the situation where your spiritual master has to come back to take you back to Godhead. And in this regard, he was narrating the pastime of Bilva Mangal Thakur. Bilva Mangal Thakur, most of you know the pastime of Bilva Mangal Thakur, but in the previous age, in the previous birth, he was a great devotee. He was almost at the Prema Bhakti level. He reached, but somehow or other, he fell down. And in the Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter, we know, if a person, a yogi is unable to continue his devotion, and he stops his devotion, and the verse says, Suchinam Srimatam Geha Yoga Bhasta Bijayate. So, he will get a chance to take birth in aristocratic family, where you will have all the facilities, you will be able to continue your devotion nicely. Same thing happened with Bilva Mangal Thakur. Bilva Mangal Thakur took birth in a nice Brahmin family. They are wealthy family. But what happened? His father and mother died at the early age. And he had so much money, wealth. Because of the wealth, what happened? He got distraction. He started getting bad association. He started associating with the prostitute. And he was completely deviated from the bhakti path, and he was into the completely, he's breaking all the regulative principles, what we call eating, illicit relation, all sort of nonsense things he was doing. And he was associating with a prostitute. Regularly he goes there. And one day, he has to perform his father's anniversary, final anniversary rituals he has to perform. He said, on the before day, he said, I'm not going to come tomorrow. And then the next day, he did all the rituals for his father's anniversary. And then in the evening, after finishing that, his mind was thinking to go to that prostitute again. And so suddenly in the evening, the weather has changed. The severe storms and rain happened. So in order to reach that prostitute house, he has to cross a river. And he went to the river. He was asking all the boatmen. Nobody was willing to take him because of its weather is not good. Nobody is risking their life. Even though he wanted to give so much money, but nobody is interested in taking that money. So finally, he could not control his desire. He jumped into the water in a heavy, severe storm in the rain. And he was swimming. Suddenly he got some support. He thought that is a wood. But it is not a wood. He couldn't see in the darkness, but it is a dead body. And then, using that body, he crossed over the river. And he went to that prostitute house. Since the before day, he told he was not going to come there. Then the prostitute closed the doors, everything, she slept. And he was knocking the door. In the rain, heavy rain, she couldn't hear the door, the noise of the door. And finally what he said, okay, he wanted to climb up the wall and get inside the house. And he saw a rope. But it is, in the darkness he thought it is a rope, but it is not a rope, it is a poisonous serpent, snake. And he used it, so first thing he did, he used a dead body to cross over the river, and next thing he was using the poisonous snake to climb up the wall and get inside the house. And then after so much struggle, he went there and he saw the prostitute. Prostitute was very surprised. So He saw that he was very off, the dress was completely spoiled, he was full of dirt on his body. So he said, he came to see you. Then the prostitute was very much surprised and she told a word. So if this kind of effort, whatever effort you put, if you put same effort on Krishna, you would have progressed so much in the devotional path. That word struck the Bilva Mangal Thakur. That changed his mind. But now, why we are understand why, what is the connection? The question Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj was saying, what will happen if the devotee is not completed, and how this spiritual master is coming back, he is going to come back to take this back to Godhead. Right? We are in this regard, we are understanding this story. So the prostitute told, okay, whatever amount of effort you spent in this coming here, if you spent in the Krishna devotion, you would have progressed so much in the devotional. This is the word it was instructed, spiritual master instructed through this prostitute to the Bilva Mangal Thakur. That is how the spiritual master conveying this message through the prostitute to Bilva Mangal Thakur. That is how the spiritual master is trying to take you back to the Godhead. So we should not get into the mood of, using we should not take this as an advantage. Rather, we should always surrender to spiritual master, fulfill all your business in the current life. Now, so this is all how we understood various aspects of spiritual master, and we saw in the previously how from the Prabhupada's pastime, how a devotee should serve spiritual master. Now we will see how Prabhupada as a spiritual master exhibited the qualities through which we can understand what is the mood of each and every spiritual master, how they think, how they work towards our towards reclaiming our fallen conditioned souls. So Srila Prabhupada went to America to fulfill his spiritual master instructions. He took Bhagavatam set and we went to New York. We know in the Leelamrita we had so many pastimes we can read. So I'm not going to touch on those things. But in the New York, the people who met are like, they are completely breaking all the regulative principles, right? They are drug addicts, they are eating illicit relation, meat eating, gambling, everything, all sort of things they are doing in the New York, the city. But before Prabhupada, many sannyasis tried, they went. But what they did, the difference between Prabhupada and other sannyasis. See, other sannyasis, they went there with the right intention to preach the message. But what they tried, these people, they don't know anything about our culture. So they are giving some concessions in the rules and regulations. You don't need to take the saffron cloth. You don't need to eat, you don't need to avoid onion garlic at this moment. Gradually you can stop eating it. You don't need to take mushroom. And you don't need to stop eating alcohol. Anything. So they are giving various exceptions. So they are giving the various exceptions, concessions, so that they try to impress those people so that they can take bhakti. They can follow this bhakti. But Prabhupada told it's different. He did not go in the same path. What Prabhupada told, he was very polite. In a proper way, he was giving the instructions. Right? Who is God? Who is Krishna? Who am I? Where Krishna lives? And how we can reach Krishna? If you have to go back to Krishna, about what all the things we have to do. This message he conveyed without compromising anything. In a such way that people understood that, he's a genuine sannyasi. He's very compassionate. See, if you see in the Prabhupada Leelamrita, when Prabhupada was inviting all the guests into the New York, when he was in New York, he's inviting various all the people who are interested, expressed their interest to listen Prabhupada Katha, Bhagavat Katha, they were coming. What Prabhupada was doing? He is alone. And he was alone and he was cooking everything, prasadam. And after program, he was giving the Bhagavat Katha and Kirtan. After finishing, he cleaning all the vessels, everything, and he's making it ready for the next program, next day. So they see that he is genuine, he is sincerely working, he is compassionate, he is not speaking in a rude way. So people got very much attracted to. Prabhupada never compromised anything on the bhakti path. So he told the message, but he created that environment where people understood that he is a genuine, he is a compassionate, and those things helped people to believe Prabhupada words. And they continued. We see, because of that, we are all, currently we are sitting here and we are understanding, we are reading Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So, the genuine nature, as a spiritual master, he exhibited that compassionate nature. And he was very clear, no compromise on the rules and regulations. He cleared everything in a genuine way, and they got attracted and they were able to serve Srila Prabhupada. So that is how, as a guru, any spiritual master will have this mood. He is compassionate. As we discussed earlier, he doesn't need to take birth in this material world. His aim is only to take us back to Godhead. With that motive, they will be always touching everyone's soul. Every soul, everyone's heart, they are. Prabhupada and all the spiritual masters are touching. There was a nice pastime from Indrajimna Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Indrajimna Swami Maharaj pastime. So, when once Indrajimna Maharaj got a French army admiral, he took that admiral to Prabhupada to arrange a meeting with the Prabhupada. And that admiral came to Prabhupada and they had a very nice conversation. And the admiral was very inspired with the Prabhupada. And at the end of the discussion, the French Navy admiral asked Prabhupada, what should I read? Tell me one book where I can read. Then Prabhupada instructed to read Bhagavad Gita. Then the person told, I don't have a time to read entire Bhagavad Gita. Tell me one chapter which I can read. Then the Prabhupada told, okay, read 9th chapter every day and follow the instructions. So there this meeting completed. And Prabhupada had left the planet, this material world. And after some time back, Indrajimna Swami Maharaj was doing, there was one event happening in the city. And he went there with his other disciples to distribute the books. And he saw that the Navy admiral who met Prabhupada was there in the event. It is a high profile people were there. Not everybody is allowed, so much security is arranged in that event. Not everybody can go inside, but outside, Maharaj and other people distributing the books. And suddenly the Navy, these Maharaj and other people know that, okay, that admiral is there in the event. They wanted to go inside, but they are not allowed. But suddenly the admiral got up and turned one side. Then he saw this Hare Krishna devotees. Then the admiral started walking towards. Then the security people told, no, it's a high profile security area. We are not. Then he said, okay, don't worry. They are nice people. And they asked, the admiral informed the guys to bring the Hare Krishna devotees inside. And then the Indrajimna Swami Maharaj came. And then the admiral asked, do you remember me? Then Indrajimna Swami Maharaj told, yes, I had an opportunity to arrange a meeting with Srila Prabhupada. Then, yes. Then the Navy admiral was telling, though your spiritual master was very nice, he touched my heart. Though this admiral is not a devotee, just he met Prabhupada once. And Prabhupada gave the Bhagavad Gita book, he asked him to read daily 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So the admiral was telling, your spiritual master was very nice. He touched my heart. I never forget that conversation I had with your spiritual master in my throughout the life. And then he asked about, Indrajimna Swami Maharaj asked, are you reading that book? Yes, I am still reading that book, Bhagavad Gita. Every day, 9th chapter I am reading, I am following the instructions. It has changed my life. So that is how the admiral was telling. So the admiral was not a devotee. He met Prabhupada only once, but Prabhupada created the impression which is lasting forever to that admiral. So this is how the spiritual masters compassionate me. This is how we can see how a spiritual master behaves. His mood will be to create, he created me to create an impression in everyone's heart so that they can follow the instructions of Krishna Bhagavad Gita and they can go back to Godhead. So in the same line, we can see many Maharajas in our ISKCON. We can see like Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, even though his health is not supporting to travel at variety places, but many places, but he's still going everywhere and preaching, continuing his preaching. So their mood is only preaching. Get as many devotees as possible, take back to Godhead. That would be their mood. Same thing in the His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj. Even the COVID time also, he doesn't want to waste his time. He traveled America. And even I was listening a Gauranga Prabhu lecture from Chaupati. He was telling about Radhanath Swami Maharaj experience with Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And when Radhanath, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj was building that eco village, Govardhan eco village in Wada, so many of the brahmacharis were thinking why we have to, because all the temples are running fine, so why we have to build such a thing in eco village in somewhere in the forest, who will go? That's what their intention. But Radhanath Swami Maharaj explained this to his vision. See, at the time, many of the centers are working fine, but the farm community was not running smoothly many places. He wanted to establish the farmer community such that when he goes back to Godhead, he can say that whatever, if he doesn't do these things, Maharaj was feeling that, how can I stand in front of Prabhupada? That was his mood. If I don't develop such eco-village kind of thing projects, show that farming community can running successfully, how can I stand in front of Prabhupada? That was his mood. He wanted to convey, that is how the spiritual masters were thinking to implement his Guru Maharaj instructions and helping everyone, all the living entities to go back to Godhead. So this is how in the current our movement also, many sannyas, all the sannyasis having the similar mood and they are exhibiting these messages. So it's all, we need to use our opportunity, take the instructions seriously and go back to Godhead. So this is what I wanted to convey from this verse. Any comments, any suggestions? Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. So any other questions? Anything? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय।